Give a big hand to Juhani, like really big.
Big one.
Okay, my name is Juhani. I guess most of you already know. And for me, it's a pleasure to be here. And actually, this is the third session. I would say that why did I came here? Like the main reason. There's a few things I want to share with you, and this session is about sharing. So I'm gonna share a few things on my mind. Then Tuomas will share something. Tuomas is there, and then there's also a possibility for you guys. So while I tell about this, you can think about if you have something in your mind you would like to discuss with other people. So after Tuomas has given the presentation, you can come also here in the front and tell the thing. And after that we go to smaller groups and discuss about that subject. I have quite big subject. It's about the future of the world. And I must say that I have read few books about that stuff, but I really don't know. So I will try to quote some books and then we can discuss about that. So I hope also that you can be interactive and, you know, respond if I question something and stuff like that. And I would also like to say that what I say, it's not at any level meant to be like, okay, it's like this. So whatever I say, it's just a suggestion that maybe it's like this, maybe it's like that. Okay, so I guess you understand the basic idea of this session. Yeah. Cool. I have a quite long, that's cool. Yeah. So I have a quite long talk. I'll try to keep in 30 minutes. I have two subjects there. So first I'm gonna say, we can talk actually. We talk a little bit about human rights, about environment, and then I'll try to wrap it up, those two subjects together. And I'll try to keep in 30 minutes, and if I don't, we can say that, okay, go faster. And after that, Tuomas will come, and then also other people if they want to share. And then we go to the small groups to talk about those subjects. So Sam, you can play from the player and put the next video. So and then next, yes. This is about the human rights, and there is just some text. You can read about it and think about it. Maybe what does it mean? a little bit about the human rights, and maybe you have already read it before, so you know all of you have the universal human rights, and Finland as a country, we respect the human rights, so we all have this right to work, or right to country, or right to vote, well, in your own country, naturally, and these kind of things. And as a country, we'll try to promote these rights. But let's not make it too simple. So yeah. So about the future, let's go first that. So is it gonna be a brilliant future or a bad future? We don't know. And that's why I put there a question mark, the brilliant future. And I have two theses. I have thought about this subject, and I think that there's a possibility for bright and beautiful future if we fulfill the human rights and if we protect the environment. So we can talk about these two subjects, and then I'll try to show the connection there. You can go for it. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, let's not make it too simple. So I was reading this Richard Dawkins' book, The Selfish Gene, and there are a few quotes, and for me, science is very important. So I think about things, for example, human nature through biology, and what are the organisms in this planet, how they are programmed to work. And Richard Dawkins have few quotes about this subject. So first, he's saying in the Selfish Gene book that the argument of this book is that we and all other animals are machines created by our genes. And by that he thinks about the origin, where did we come from. And there was these cells which were multiplying, and around the cells were formed these bigger entities, which like flesh and bones and so on. And the gene is the driver in that organism, and the thing around it, for example, me as a human, I'm just a vehicle carrying these genes, and I'll do whatever my genes are telling me to do. That's one of the viewpoints in this book. And he says that I shall argue that a predominant quality to be expected in a successful gene is ruthless selfishness. And he has this whole book. It's called Selfish Gene. Of course, it doesn't mean that if gene is selfish, that organism is selfish. So we have to separate these two things. So organism can be altruistic, even though the gene is trying to pursue its own benefit. I will tell soon about the altruism, but basically it means doing something good for somebody else in expense of myself. And then he says in the book that universal love and the welfare of the species as a whole are concepts that simply do not make evolutionary sense. There's some dilemma maybe rising in your head, because we were just talking about the human rights, and he's saying that in evolutionary sense it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, let's put it this way. So hey, I wanna ask, have there any questions raised in your head? Do you, for example, agree with all of these points?
I didn't understand the second.
Second. Okay. So the second point here is that human is built from genes, and gene is part of the DNA, which has a distinctive quality which can see in the organism. For example, I have a blue-eyed gene, or in my case it's green. But when I have children, then the children will inherit my genes, and it will define what color eyes the child has. And there are physical characteristics in the genes, but there are also behavioral characteristics. So somebody might be very competitive, and it's inherited to the children. And maybe in the society where there's not much food. This kind of a competitive gene might do better because it's always competing and trying to win others. So it might succeed to get the food. And in that case, it might succeed to making babies, which will eat also food because they are also competing more. And when we have a population, in that population, this kind of a gene, which will succeed well, which will start slowly populating, like getting more numerals in that gene pool. So when we have this lazy gene, for example, it maybe don't get the food, it will die, it won't make the children, and its children won't get numerals in the gene pool. So there is no mind in the gene. So the gene cannot think, okay, I will be selfish. Of course, it's just a small piece of DNA. But if we give like a mind, okay, if the gene would think what he would like to do, so this kind of this personification, and we can use that, for example, in physics when we follow that light particle. So we can think about, okay, where the light particle would go, and it will try to find the shortest path, for example. Of course, it's not thinking that I'll go the shortest path, but for human it's easier to understand how it acts when we give this kind of a personification. Okay, it was a good question. Anything else?
How do you define success?
Okay. In evolutionary sense, success is defined by usually by survival. So it's the most visible thing. So the successful organisms will succeed to have offsprings, which will succeed to have offsprings, and so on. So in that sense, when we have a population of, let's say, 10 people, so what the successful one will have like more babies, and they will have more babies, and after, let's say, 100 years, most of the population consists from that one person, successful person, like that. They share the common genes. Anything else?
So how does the universal love and welfare of the species contradict that?
Okay, it contradicts in the way that in evolutionary science there are scientists